Hey, how you doing, everyone? This is the one cat that you haven't met yet. That's George, but he's very camera shy, so I'm going to let him down before he gets too angry. Um, I wouldn't say he's really angry, but he's just kind of uncomfortable, so, you know. So now you've met all the cats. Um, and, you know, George is fantastic. He was actually the first cat that we got. In fact, that's what I'm going to talk about right now is the cats. Now, first of all, Molly, the dog, uh, she came first, and actually, my wife had her before we knew each other. So, I mean, she's an old dog. She's like 14 years old. Wife and I have been married for 5 years. So, yeah, she's a good dog, except for when she does that. You know, she's growling at one of the cats. And I don't really know why. But anyway, wife decided she wanted to get a cat. Oh, alright, well, I'm not really pro or con either way on this. Alright, I could have a cat, I could not have a cat, whatever. That's the way I was at the time anyway. I had nothing against cats, I just didn't want one. I liked cats well enough, but I preferred that they were other people's cats. And I'd had cats before, so I didn't hate them or anything like that. I was fine with them, but anyway, we wanted an adult cat. So, we went and got George. Funny story about George, though. My wife did not think she wanted a male cat, and she didn't think she wanted an orange cat. Well, you saw George. He's both. And while she was out there looking at some of the other cats that the shelter had, I was in a room with George, and, we kind of bonded right there, which is kind of ironic because once we got him home, first of all, it took him 2 months to just kind of start to come around a little bit. And then my wife he just gravitated toward her. And, I get it. She's more likable than I am. So, whatever. But, I was trying to be friendly with him, trying to, make him know that he was safe. But, he was a stray. So, he was, like 3 years old when we adopted him. So, if you look him over real good and just kind of go through his fur a little bit, it looks like he's had a pretty tough life. Hopefully he thinks he's got it good now. Except for when I try to put him on camera because he did not like that at all, as you saw. But anyway, it took him 2 years to come around to me. And it's kind of funny. Now we're buddies. We don't have any issues at all with each other. But, after maybe a year or so having George, we started volunteering at the shelter, and then we started fostering kittens. Well, we had several litters. And the fun part about that was we got to name them, and we got to watch them grow up from little tiny kittens to, big enough to be adopted kittens, till they're old enough to get spayed or neutered and sent out with a nice family that wants them. And that was a lot of fun. Now, if you've seen all my videos, you've seen Elliot. He's the one that climbs up onto my shoulder and will jump off. Little white guy with a little bit of black on him. Well, he was in one of those litters, and he was little tiny guy. I mean, we're talking like fitting the palm of your hand tiny. You know, funny thing about that cat, though, he's not smart enough to be afraid of anything. I mean, this is one of those cats. I mean, he's not very smart, but what he lacks in smart, he makes up in dumb. But yeah, he would. Molly would be laying in her bed in the middle of the floor, and this little, not even a 1 pound kitten, probably a half-pound kitten at the time, goes over to this 100-pound dog while she's in the middle of her bed, and she gets up out of her bed, and then this little tiny kitten curls up dead center. You know, so wife decided, yeah, we got to keep him. So, in fact, this little girl right here, this little girl, Penelope, she was in that very next litter. Now, this is my girl right here. I love that little spot on her nose. This is my girl right here, though. She was in the next litter, and, well, we didn't really adopt her so much as she adopted me. She would follow me everywhere. She was my little shadow, and always had to be right there with me. And that's why you've seen her more than any of the other cats, you know, because she still mostly gravitates toward me. I mean, don't get me wrong, she also gravitates toward my wife. Wife didn't understand why I wanted to keep her. In fact, Penelope's the one moving the camera right now. But I don't know. I just happened to fall in love with that little girl. And when we sent that litter back to the shelter, I mean, I was okay with letting her go because, well, I wasn't really, but I was ready to accept it. But then we went back to the shelter, after we had taken that entire litter back, including Penelope. And I didn't know this, but my wife arranged for us to adopt her. So now we've adopted 2 of our fosters. Well, all right, we're going to keep fostering a bit then, right? And we've had some great kittens that we kept going. Why not? So a few more litters, and then we got 3 individual kittens from different litters. You know, I mean, they were like, they each came in individually, and they decided to group these 3 together and send them with us. Well, one of those 3 happened to be Eva. She was the first cat you met. She's the one that's almost all black. She's got a little bit of white on her. And my wife just absolutely adored her and still does. In fact, I think, maybe don't tell the others, but I think that's my wife's favorite of the bunch. But so Eva, wife said she was not negotiable at all because she had all the best personality traits of like 3 or 4 other kittens that she had wanted to keep. But Eva had all of that rolled up into one cat. So, there's that. So we kept her. Also in that litter, you've met Chester. He's the one that's mostly white with a little bit of orange. Yep, he was in that group as well. And I don't know what it was about that guy, because it was weird. He was just, day one when I first brought him home, because I went and picked him up. And first day, purr, 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 purr. He's up on my lap. He's like, oh, hi. I guess I live here now. Purr, purr, purr. Goes around and, oh, you have a big dog. Cool. Purr, purr, purr. Oh, there's other cats here. Awesome. And then he goes in and he sees my wife. It's like, oh, you live here too. All right. Purr, 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 purr. Very next day. It's like, where'd that come from, dude? Seriously. He was not pleasant at all. Well, I mean, he came around and he's still kind of standoffish, and, he is the least social of the cats. At least with us. He's perfect with the other cats. But he's fantastic. I mean, I think he thinks he's an astrophysicist or something. He seems like one of those cats that he's looking at the world around him and it's like, why am I a cat? Shouldn't I have some bigger purpose in life? Nah, that is your purpose. You're doing quite well, cat. But yeah, that's the story of the cats. Why we have so many of them. And, honestly, I wouldn't trade a single one of them. We would still be fostering, except we're either really good at it or we're not very good at it at all. Otherwise, why else would we have kept 4 of our fosters, We had George before we started fostering. And, like I said, I live in the state of Iowa. State of Iowa says that we are not allowed to foster at this point in time because we have too many animals. Okay, well, I don't really agree with that law, but it is what it is, and we're not getting rid of any of the animals. More than likely, the next one to go will be Molly, but that's because of her age, But, that's not something we're thinking about. I mean, that'll happen when it happens. She's fine. Not worried about that happening anytime soon. But, yeah, so there's the story about the cats and why we have so many of them. And you know what? If you have it in your heart and in your house, if you have the space in your house and in your heart, I would definitely recommend that you also get some animals. I mean, that's just me, though. I understand some people can't for various reasons, allergies, whatnot, but if you can, I would definitely recommend it. They're fantastic. If you can't, I would recommend doing something for your local shelter, whether that's volunteering or donating. And it doesn't have to be money that you donate. I mean, they need supplies, and supplies that you might not think of. Cleaning supplies, laundry detergent, believe it or not. You don't think of that. But, yeah, I would recommend doing something for your local shelter if you can. Adopt an animal or 7 or, whatever you can. But, yeah, you won't regret it. Assuming you're able to, but you won't regret it. I'll see you next time.